All right, guys, Sam here with you. It's Thursday, the 17th of January, and by request here, we're going to take a look at some Forex pairs. So this is the euro to the British pound, so there's no surprise here. People are interested in what's going on considering the some of the challenges they have over in Great Britain. So this is an interesting spread here. So now, of course, as I will always encourage you, whenever you're looking at Forex, you got to go start long term. I will typically start with a 3-day or a weekly, but you really want to build your entire analysis from these longer term swings where you can get clarity here. There's so much noise in Forex that you need to pull out so you can get clarity on where the trend is and what's happening and what the retracements look like. I think you'll find that not only more profitable, but much more easily are you able to see that wave separation here. So I'm working from, what do we got here? The summer of 2015. We've got a clear 5-wave structure here. So, well, actually, let me rephrase here. So we can get a 1, 2, and then we've got a clear 5 within the 3. Better way to say that. So yes, we have a clear 5, but it seems to be in the context of a 1, 2. Now, granted, that's a deep 2. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is all perfect. Now, I've got a set of median lines on this, and I'm working from the absolute low here. And there's 2 ways to look at this. So one thought is, well, a failure to make the median line, that's a sign of weakness. We know that, right? It's trading principle number 4, failure to make the median line implies a move equal to or greater than the move that failed to make it, right? So that would mean we'd be looking for something of this length to come up from this pivot high, right? So it would just be 100% retracement, kind of lines up rather nicely here. Now, here's the other thing, which, sometimes with median lines, right? So with Trade Devils here, we've got some software that helps us identify these. So what you can do, but just so you get the idea here, sometimes you just kind of want to see is there another pivot that they might be using, and it couldn't help but notice that. All right, so let me get that right on there. There you go. All right, so there's either way you interpret that, whether we're working from the absolute low or this swing here, which seems to have some bearing. I mean, that's to the tick, right? And I'm on a daily chart. So either way you interpret it, this would be a significant pivot, right? As we've moved away from it and now come outside of that set of median lines, I'd actually be looking at a set of median lines going lower now. So with that established, now I'll pull this off here so we can just clear up the chart. So if this is correctly identified, and it's hard to find another way to interpret this. If that's your 2, 3 is done. We're in an ABC. 4, well, of course, where are we looking for a 4? Anywhere from the 23 to the 38. That's your prime zone where we're sitting right here at the 23. So now if you're working from the other side here, this is a little bit of an interesting development here. So we've got a little wicks, right? So granted, these are daily charts, but you got a little poke through the golden zone, sitting now, of course, as a B wave. 786 holds it here, right? Doesn't change the Elliott count in any way. And it looks like, see, the one problem spot you have in here is this area here. So this looks like it looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Looks like a diagonal, but so you've got an ABC here. So you'd have to trade this as A. Boy, you probably have to dig down to a smaller time frame. So you'd have to go A, B, and then finish the C here. Although it's not pretty here, but you can't have a 5 there. So you've got a better look at the 5 coming up here. So it seems like that's your best bet here. Right? Even any of this is a little bit dicey. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Looks like you can finish that with a diagonal. You gotta go A, B, C here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 into that. So pulling back, it's maybe a little bit of a stretch here, but I certainly nothing here to support the idea that we're finished with this correction just yet. So we're sitting here right where the cluster of volume here. You can't get a volume profile on Forex, but you could just visualize here with all the market acceptance here. So we have a battle, buyers and sellers. So you'd anticipate a big high volume node there. So coming out of this, though, this seems the reasonable target down here. I want this, right? So here's our high probability zone. I got still algo target in play here. So A, B, C, hard to argue with it. Now this is trickier to get here because the depth of the B. Let's go back to original recipe. But there you go. So of course you've got a corner pocket here, not golden, as we've broken through the golden zone, but you have a contender. Now, so as long as this pivot holds, 80% odds we make the median line. Now we could make it here, bounce, and then ultimately get our way down here, but this is just the textbook, right? So if you draw this over, it looks like if we're using the median lines, right, part of the value of median lines is that they're a leading indicator. So it's implying here that I've got to move down. So so we're trying to complete a C wave, so you might think this is the one of the, something like that to get us down there, the one of the C wave potentially going in now. Right, we don't, again, I'm just sort of freestyling this, but that's kind of what you're looking for. Now that certainly would set you up for the buy, right? So how do you, right? Why would you, again, as I like to say, why would you not take that trade? Now, of course, right? So a lot has to happen. We have to get the subdivision of 5 down here. We want the timing to be right. But that's a pretty attractive setup there. Right, now, what else is there? Well, look left. It's not, the one thing that does seem to stand out is this pivot here seems to be at play in the market. We support, waiver, resistance. It's just right there. Right? So that's the only thing I can see that really lines up with it rather nicely. So you've got a nice little cluster down here. So it's all contingent on, can we get clarity on a clean 5 coming down to support the idea that we're in an AB, coming down for the C, and then there'll be the potential for this last drive up here for a 5. So there would be a target up here. So this seems a reasonable roadmap right up there. So of course you could do it this way as well. So we go back to a set of median lines. Now I'm hypothetical here. I don't have this pivot yet. So there's with the shift, right? And there it is with the, right? So right, that's about as good as it gets, right, for median line traders. If you can get these all to line up, so that's the power play. Shit, I gotta watch that. That's too good to not take, right? So of course you got money management is critical here. I see this because the potential is there. We could pivot here and pause and then just keep going down. So you can't assume, oh, just because we've hit a median line, we're gonna stop there. I think you can anticipate some sort of hesitation or reaction there. Trading principle number 2, if we don't get a pivot right on the median line, there'll be a hover, but while it decides which way it wants to break. So this would not be out of the question. The target wouldn't change, but you could certainly break lower and then come down in here to this lower cluster, and then you might do the same thing over here. You look and say, oh, what do we got there? Well, that's underneath, so this is not out of the realm, right? So of course it's a question of how long it takes, but this, right, where you get the double, take the short into the long. You don't get that many of those. That's something worth going for. So I don't know that I'd be chasing the short just yet because you're kind of late on that trade here. So now if you get a retracement here, so the assumption being that we've got a 1 going in and we don't really have a pivot just yet. But if we got a decent retracement here and we held the parallel, boy, the 2 into the 3, you could carry it all the way down to the 5. The question is, when do we hit the median line? But ooh, that's well, you're a technical geek if you find that sexy. That is, boy, that's to a trader, that's sexy. All right, guys, have at it with that. But careful in here, right? So considering the backdrop of what's going on in the pound. Certainly would be very disciplined about risk control here because, shit happens. All right, guys, back to you later.